The morning air on Proxima Centauri carried the pleasant scent of the purple-leaved trees native to the planet as colonists went about their daily tasks. For 7 years, humanity had flourished on this distant world, building a community that balanced technological advancement with respect for the alien ecosystem. Children played in courtyards while scientists and engineers continued the endless work of adaptation and discovery. Dr. Elena Reyes stood at her monitoring station in the colony's communications center, sipping her morning tea when the first anomalous readings appeared. The disturbance in the upper atmosphere wasn't weather-related. She adjusted the scanner parameters and froze. Multiple objects were decelerating into orbit, objects far too large to be natural. Director Hammond, she called over the comm system, "We have unidentified vessels entering orbit." At least 27 distinct signatures. Her voice remained professional despite the fear building in her chest. Within minutes, the colony's leadership gathered in the control center. Most still believed it must be an unscheduled supply drop from Earth, despite the protocol violations such an action would represent. "Those aren't human configurations," said Chief Engineer Patel, pointing at the holographic display. "The energy signatures are unlike anything in our database." The first explosion hit before evacuation protocols could be fully activated. A beam of intense energy sliced through the communications array's main dish, sending shrapnel across the complex's roof. The secondary systems activated automatically, routing through underground backups. "We need to send a distress signal," Director Hammond ordered, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. Dr. Reyes used the quantum entanglement communicator. Elena rushed to the heavily shielded room that housed humanity's most advanced communication technology. The QEC was reserved for emergencies only. Its paired counterpart sat in Earth's defense headquarters, maintaining an instantaneous connection across 4.2 light-years. As alien shuttles began descending through the atmosphere, Elena's fingers flew across the interface. She compiled colony status, attack parameters, and all scanner data into a compressed packet. "This is Proxima Colony under attack by unknown hostile forces," she recorded. "Multiple warships in orbit. Ground invasion imminent. Requesting immediate assistance." The facility shook as another blast hit nearby. Warning lights flashed as the colony's minimal defensive systems came online, designed for meteorite deflection, not warfare. Through the window, Elena watched the first alien craft land in the colony's central plaza. The vessel's design featured unsettling organic curves and protrusions that seemed to pulse with internal energy. A hatch opened, and the invaders emerged. The Skalath stood nearly 7 feet tall, their bodies covered in chitinous plates that shifted color in the sunlight. Their forearms moved with unsettling precision as they deployed weapons and scanning equipment. Their elongated, eyeless heads swiveled, sensing the environment through means humans couldn't comprehend. Elena hit the transmission button, just as the door to the communication room burst open. A Skalath soldier entered, its weapon trained on her. The alien made a sound like grinding metal, possibly laughter, as it observed the fragile human female. "Transmission complete," flashed the terminal. The alien fired, destroying the QEC terminal. But too late. Earth had received the message. Elena dove behind a console as the structure around her began to crumble. Across the colony, humans were being rounded up or fleeing into the wilderness. The Skalath moved with military precision, their technology effortlessly overriding human security systems. Colony defenses, designed for environmental protection rather than warfare, fell within minutes. Supreme Overlord Vextar watched from his command ship. These humans were even more primitive than intelligence had suggested. Their pitiful colony had barely managed to register his fleet's arrival before falling. The slaves would be useful for mining operations, and the planet's resources would supply the Empire's expansion. What the Skalath commander didn't understand was that the human response had only just begun. Admiral James Chen was reviewing colonization reports in his office deep within the Rocky Mountains when the emergency alert sounded. The quantum entanglement communicator, a device that had remained silent for the 7 years since the Proxima colony's establishment, was active. Incoming transmission from Proxima Centauri, announced the AI system. Priority Alpha. Chen's expression hardened as he watched the message. Dr. Raya's face showed remarkable composure despite the chaos visible behind her. The data package accompanying the video told a grimmer story. Unknown vessels with weapons capabilities far beyond anything publicly acknowledged in human space. Authorize Protocol Darkshield, Chen commanded, placing his palm on the biometric scanner. Notification to all High Command personnel. Meeting in the war room in 30 minutes. Across Earth, 12 individuals received the same alert. They represented the hidden side of humanity's expansion to the stars. The side that had prepared for the day aliens might prove hostile. The public thought the United Earth Space Agency was primarily focused on exploration and colonization. Few knew that deep in the asteroid belt, humanity had been building a fleet unlike any conceived in science fiction. The warships incorporated technology from a dozen sources: reverse-engineered alien artifacts found on Mars, breakthrough quantum physics from the African Science Collective, biotech advancements from the Pacific Alliance, and weapons systems that had been theorized but never tested. General Sofia Volkov was the first to arrive at the war room, her uniform pristine despite being pulled from a training exercise. "Is it true?" she asked without preamble. Chen nodded. "Proxima is under attack. Alien forces. No warning, no demands." One by one, the others arrived. The Chief of Military Intelligence, the Director of Advanced Weapons Research, representatives from each of Earth's unified military branches. Some had been skeptical of the resources poured into the secret fleet. None questioned the necessity now. "The Proxima colony has minimal defensive capabilities," Chen explained, activating the holographic display. "Based on Dr. Raya's data, we're facing a technologically advanced species with clear military hierarchy and conquest objectives. The Thunderchild can be ready in 6 hours," reported Admiral Hayashi, commander of the First Fleet. "The Leonidas and Yamato need minor adjustments to their jump drives, but can deploy within 12. "That's impossible," said the European Union representative. "Even with our most advanced drive technology, reaching Proxima would take years." "Not anymore," replied Dr. Lakshmi Patel, head of the Quantum Physics Division. "The ships are equipped with experimental Einstein-Rosen bridge generators. We've successfully tested them to the Kuiper Belt. This will be their first interstellar deployment." Chen studied the alien ship configurations from Raya's transmission. "We know nothing about their capabilities except that they overwhelmed a civilian colony. We go in prepared for anything." Deep in the asteroid belt, massive hangar doors began to open. The UES Thunderchild, 2 kilometers long and armed with weapons no human had ever seen fired in actual combat, disengaged from its moorings. Its sleek, dark hull absorbed rather than reflected light, making it nearly invisible against the void. Only the faint blue glow of its quantum drive betrayed its position. "All personnel to battle stations," came the announcement throughout the ship. "This is not a drill. Prepare for quantum jump to Proxima Centauri." In the command center, Captain Mei Lin watched her crew with pride. They had trained for this moment, though many had believed it would never come. "The sleeping giant awakens," she murmured to her executive officer. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden guardians prepared for war. The Skalath had attacked what they perceived as a helpless colony. They were about to discover how dangerously wrong they were. Space rippled like disturbed water as the Einstein-Rosen bridge tore open near Proxima Centauri. The UES Thunderchild emerged first, its massive silhouette materializing against the backdrop of stars, followed minutes later by the Leonidas and Yamato. The quantum jump had worked flawlessly, delivering Earth's most advanced warships to the besieged colony in mere hours rather than years. On the bridge of the Thunderchild, Captain Derek Singh studied the tactical display. 30 alien vessels surrounded the colony world, their formations suggesting they hadn't expected any response from Earth for decades, if ever. "No indication they've detected us," reported Lieutenant Commander Hayes at the sensor station. "Our absorption hull is working perfectly." Singh nodded. "Maintain stealth protocols." "Commander Jackson, prepare your ground team. Priority is to locate survivors and establish a secure base of operations." Commander Olivia Jackson, head of Special Operations, had already selected her team of 12 specialists. They were the best Earth had to offer. Former Special Forces soldiers enhanced with subtle biotech improvements and equipped with combat suits that could adapt to various environmental conditions. "We'll drop in the northern forest region," Jackson said, highlighting the area on the map. Dr. Rice's last transmission indicated colonists were taking refuge in the cave networks there. While the ground team prepared, Singh faced a more delicate task. "Open a channel to the largest alien vessel," he ordered. "Let's see if we can resolve this without bloodshed." The communications officer looked up in surprise. "Sir, we don't know their language or protocols." "The universal translator has been programmed with every theoretical linguistic structure," Singh replied. "And sometimes the simplest approach is best." Aboard the Skalath command ship, Supreme Overlord Vextar was supervising the cataloging of human prisoners when an alert sounded. "Unknown vessels detected in orbit," reported his second-in-command. They appeared suddenly. There was no approach vector. Vextar's head crests rose in alarm. "Impossible. The humans have no faster-than-light capability. They are broadcasting a message, Overlord." The alien commander's initial shock turned to amusement as the message played. These humans wished to speak, after his armada had already secured their colony. Such primitive beings, still believing in diplomacy when faced with superior power. "I will speak to them," Vextar decided. "It will be instructive for the rest of the fleet to witness their surrender." Singh's diplomatic shuttle approached the alien flagship under a flag of truce, a concept the Skalath found quaintly primitive. The human captain was escorted to the command deck, walking with dignity despite being surrounded by armed guards twice his size. Vextar loomed over Singh from an elevated platform. "You have traveled far to surrender your colony," the alien said through a translation device. Singh showed no fear. "I've come to offer you the opportunity to withdraw your forces and return to your territory without further conflict." The Skalath command deck erupted with the grinding metal sound of their laughter. "Perhaps you misunderstand the situation," Vextar replied. "Your colony is captured. Your people will serve the Empire. And your planet, Earth, is too distant to help. I suggest you scan our vessels more carefully," Singh responded calmly. "What you find might change your assessment." The alien commander gestured dismissively. "Your species has barely mastered interplanetary travel. Your weapons are primitive projectiles and chemical explosives. The Skalath Empire has conquered 100 worlds more advanced than yours. Then this is your only warning," Singh said, turning to leave. "Withdraw now." Vextar's patience ended. "Fire on the human shuttle as it returns," he ordered. "Show them the consequence of insolence." As Singh's shuttle departed, a Skalath destroyer fired its main weapon. The energy beam struck the small craft, creating the brilliant explosion visible from the planet's surface. What the aliens didn't detect was the stealth escape pod that separated moments before impact, carrying Singh safely back to the Thunderchild. The first move had been made. Now humanity would respond. Captain Singh stepped onto the bridge of the Thunderchild, his expression grim but determined. The crew watched him in silence, having witnessed the apparent destruction of his shuttle minutes before. "The Skalath have made their position clear," Singh announced. "They've rejected peaceful resolution. Admiral Chen has authorized a measured response." Lieutenant Commander Hayes looked up from her tactical station. "Define measured, sir." "Target the destroyer that fired on my shuttle," Singh ordered. "One shot, minimum yield. Let's show them what they're dealing with." The weapons officer's hands hovered over the controls. "Targeting quantum disruptor. 20% power." Singh nodded. "Fire." From the Thunderchild's forward section, a beam of shimmering blue-white energy lanced out, barely visible until it struck the Skalath destroyer. There was no dramatic explosion, no fiery burst of destruction. Instead, the alien vessel simply unmade itself. Its atomic structure destabilized in an expanding wave, the ship dissolving into constituent particles that scattered into space like glittering dust. On the Skalath command ship, Supreme Overlord Vextar stared at the empty space where his destroyer had been moments before. For the first time in his long military career, he felt a flicker of uncertainty. "What weapon did they use?" he demanded. "Our sensors detected no energy buildup, no projectile." His science officer worked frantically at the console. "Unknown technology. It appeared to disrupt molecular bonds at the quantum level. Our shields were irrelevant." Vextar's uncertainty quickly hardened into rage. "Deploy the fleet. Full attack formation. These humans must be exterminated before they can use this weapon again." As the Skalath fleet moved to engage, Commander Jackson and her team were descending to the planet's surface in stealth dropships. Their objective: locate Dr. Rice and any surviving colonists. "Thermal signatures in the northern cave network," reported Specialist Torres, studying her scanner. Approximately 200 human life signs clustered in the deeper chambers. Jackson nodded. The colonists were smart. Those caves contained mineral deposits that would block standard scans. The team landed 2 kilometers from the cave entrance, using the dense purple-leaved forest for cover. As they approached, they encountered signs of combat, broken Skalath equipment, and several alien bodies. The colonists fought back, observed Lieutenant Kim with approval. Inside the main cave, they found a makeshift command center. Dr. Elena Rice sat surrounded by jury-rigged equipment, some of it clearly repurposed from alien technology. She looked up as Jackson's team entered, relief washing over her exhausted face. "Earth responded," she said, halfway between a statement and a question. 3 warships, Jackson confirmed. "More coming. We brought supplies and equipment. What's your situation?" "We've been conducting guerrilla operations since the invasion," Rice explained, gesturing to a group of colonists cleaning weapons. "Most of us escaped the initial attack. We've been hitting their patrols, gathering intel." She activated a holographic display showing a map of alien positions, "and I've managed to hack into their communication network. Their encryption is complex, but follows recognizable patterns." Jackson raised an eyebrow, impressed. "You've been busy." "They underestimated us," Rice said simply. "They think we're primitive. Their arrogance is a weakness." In orbit, the battle had begun. The Skalath fleet unleashed its full arsenal against the 3 human vessels. Energy weapons, gravitational distortion bombs, and autonomous attack drones swarmed toward the Earth ships. Captain Singh watched calmly as the Thunderchild's defensive systems activated. The adaptive shielding analyzed each incoming attack, adjusting its quantum state to neutralize the threats. Weapons that had devastated entire fleets in the Skalath's previous conquests dissipated harmlessly against the human warships. "Return fire," Singh ordered. "Precision targeting only. We're not here for extermination." The Leonidas and Yamato moved in perfect coordination, their weapons striking with surgical precision. Alien ships lost propulsion systems, weapons arrays, and communication nodes without being completely destroyed. The message was clear. Humanity could have annihilated them, but was choosing restraint. The Skalath flagship shuddered as another precision strike from the Yamato disabled its tertiary weapons array. On the command deck, Supreme Overlord Vextar struggled to comprehend the tactical display. His fleet, veterans of 100 conquests, was being systematically dismantled by just 3 human vessels. "How are they anticipating our attack patterns?" he demanded. His tactical officer's voice trembled. "Unknown, Overlord. Their defensive systems adapt to each weapon we deploy. Our standard protocols are ineffective." A junior science officer approached cautiously. "Overlord, our analysis indicates their technology functions on principles fundamentally different from galactic standard." "Explain," Vextar ordered. "All known species develop along similar technological paths, manipulating known physics in increasingly efficient ways. These humans, the officer hesitated. They appear to have developed entirely novel approaches. Their weapons operate through quantum-level manipulation, temporarily shifting matter between dimensional states. Vextar's head crests flattened against his skull, a sign of deep distress. Are you saying they can simply ignore our shields? Yes, Overlord. Their technology doesn't try to overcome our defenses, it bypasses them entirely. On the Thunderchild's bridge, Captain Singh received updates from the other vessels. The Leonidas reports minor damage to their port sensor array. Lieutenant Commander Hayes reported. The Yamato's shields are holding at 96%. Singh nodded. Have they targeted our jump drive? No, sir. They don't seem to understand which systems are critical. They're attacking standard weapon hardpoints based on their own ship designs. The tactical officer looked up. Captain, we're detecting a transmission from the Skalath flagship, directed toward their home territory. It's compressed and encrypted, but appears to be a distress call. Singh considered this development. They're calling for reinforcements. Admiral Chen should be informed. On the planet's surface, the combined forces of Commander Jackson's Special Forces team and the colonist resistance were making significant progress. Using the intelligence Dr. Rice had gathered from the hacked communications, they systematically targeted alien supply depots and command posts. Their ground forces are disconnected from the fleet, Rice explained as they gathered around a tactical display in the cave headquarters. The confusion in orbit has disrupted their command structure. Jackson studied the map. We can retake the colony's main power facility. That would restore full capabilities to the medical center. Rice nodded. My people know the facility layout. We've been waiting for the right moment. The operation proceeded with precision. The human forces moved through the forest with stealth that baffled the Skalath sentries, whose species had evolved in open plains and had poor awareness in dense vegetation. Jackson's team utilized non-lethal sonic weapons when possible, preserving alien lives while neutralizing the threat. Inside the power facility, Rice bypassed the alien security locks with surprising ease. They never bothered to change the original human security protocols, she said with a grim smile. They thought our technology too primitive to be a threat. In orbit, the battle had reached a stalemate of sorts. The human vessels could disable the alien ships at will, but Singh was intentionally limiting the damage, still offering the opportunity for surrender. The Skalath continued fighting despite mounting losses, their military doctrine allowing no concept of retreat. Sir, called the sensor officer, we're detecting quantum fluctuations at the edge of the system. The readings match our Einstein-Rosen bridge technology. Singh felt a surge of satisfaction. Reinforcements from Earth. The UEA's Excalibur emerged from the dimensional rift, followed by the Magellan and the Shenzhen. Admiral Chen had dispatched additional forces, anticipating the Skalath response. Supreme Overlord Vextar watched with growing dread as more human warships appeared. His empire had never encountered a species that could challenge their military might so effectively. For the first time in their 1,000-year expansion, the Skalath were experiencing something entirely new, the prospect of defeat. His communication officer interrupted his dark thoughts. Overlord, we have received a response to our distress call. The Supreme Council is dispatching the 3rd and 5th battle groups. Estimated arrival: 6 standard cycles. Vextar's confidence partially returned. 100 warships would soon arrive. The largest battle fleet assembled in recent Skalath history. These humans, however impressive, could not possibly stand against such might. What he couldn't know was that Earth was already preparing its response. News of the conflict spread through the galaxy like ripples in a cosmic pond. The quantum communications network that connected the major civilizations buzzed with reports. Many contradictory, all sensational. A previously unknown species called humans had engaged the Skalath Empire in battle, and was, impossibly, winning. On Galtorax Prime, the seat of the Galactic Council, representatives from 200 spacefaring civilizations gathered in emergency session. The Grand Chamber, with its soaring crystalline dome reflecting the light of 3 suns, had not hosted such a full assembly in over a century. High Chancellor Nixil of the Estrine Confederation called the session to order. We face an unprecedented situation. The Skalath Empire, which has dominated the Orion Arm for a millennium, has encountered resistance from a species previously deemed pre-spacefaring. The Skalath representative, Ambassador Krabzor, rose from his seat. The Empire rejects the characterization of this conflict. We are dealing with isolated terrorists who attacked a peaceful scientific mission. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the chamber. Even among allies, the Skalath were known for their ruthless expansion. "We have received a communication," announced the Chancellor, "from the species in question. They call themselves humans, from the planet Earth. They request recognition and the right to address this council." The chamber erupted in debate. No new species had been granted speaking rights without decades of diplomatic preparation. Yet the urgency of the situation demanded extraordinary measures. "Let them speak," called out Ambassador Tulare of the Ventari Alliance, a coalition that had lost 3 border worlds to Skalath expansion in recent decades. "If they have truly challenged the Empire, we should hear them." The vote passed narrowly. Minutes later, a holographic projection appeared in the center of the chamber. A human female in a formal blue uniform adorned with symbols of rank. "Esteemed representatives of the Galactic Council," she began, "I am Admiral Helena Ramirez of the United Earth Government. We come before you not seeking conflict, but resolution. The Skalath Empire attacked our colony without provocation, enslaved our people, and fired upon our diplomatic envoy." She gestured, and documentary evidence appeared, surveillance footage from the colony showing the initial attack, transmissions between Skalath commanders discussing human enslavement, and footage of Singh's shuttle being destroyed after peaceful overtures. "Earth had no knowledge of the Galactic Council until recently," Ramirez continued. "We developed in isolation, creating technologies that follow different principles than those common to other species. We seek peaceful integration into the galactic community, but we will defend our people." The Skalath ambassador hissed in outrage. "These fabrications are verified as authentic by our technical analysts," interrupted the Novalian representative, whose species specialized in data forensics. "The evidence appears unaltered." At Proxima Centauri, Captain Singh received a transmission from Admiral Chen. "The diplomatic initiative at the Galactic Council is proceeding," Chen reported. "But our intelligence suggests the Skalath reinforcements will arrive before any resolution can be reached." Singh studied the tactical projections. 100 warships. They're committing a significant portion of their fleet. "Which makes this our opportunity," Chen replied. "Earth has authorized the deployment of our remaining forces. 30 additional vessels will jump to your position within 12 hours. Singh raised an eyebrow. "We'll still be outnumbered 3-1. Quality over quantity, Captain," Chen said with the hint of a smile. "Most of our ships have never revealed their full capabilities. This is the moment they were built for." On the colony world, Commander Jackson's forces had secured the main settlement. Dr. Rice and her team had converted the communications center into an intelligence hub, using her access to the Skalath network to track enemy movements across the planet. "They're consolidating their ground forces," Jackson observed, "pulling back to defensive positions around their primary landing zone." Rice nodded. "They're anticipating reinforcements, but they're also transmitting massive data packets to their incoming fleet, updating them on our capabilities, our weapons. They're learning," Jackson said grimly. "The next wave won't underestimate us." In deep space, the Skalath reinforcement fleet accelerated toward Proxima Centauri. Supreme Admiral Graxthar, veteran of 30 campaigns and conqueror of a dozen worlds, reviewed the intelligence from Vextar's forces. The humans employed technologies unlike any he had encountered in his long career. This would not be a simple punishment expedition. This would be a true test of the Empire's might. Space above Proxima Centauri shimmered as the Skalath reinforcement fleet emerged from hyperspace, 100 warships arranged in the Empire's traditional crescent formation. The massive vessels dwarfed their human counterparts, bristling with weapons designed to subjugate entire planetary systems. On the Thunderchild's bridge, Captain Singh watched the tactical display without visible concern. "Right on schedule," he remarked. "Status of our reinforcements." "The last vessels are completing their quantum jumps now, sir," reported Lieutenant Commander Hayes. "All 33 Earth ships are in position." The human fleet had arranged itself in a three-dimensional pattern that the Skalath tactical officers found baffling. No discernible front line, no concentration of firepower, seemingly scattered at random across a vast volume of space. Aboard the Skalath Command Dreadnought, Supreme Admiral Graxthar studied the human deployment with narrowed eyes. "They position themselves like prey preparing to scatter," he observed to his staff. "Yet they'd make no attempt to retreat." His tactical officer offered an analysis. "The human vessels appear to be optimized for independent action rather than coordinated fleet maneuvers. Our numerical advantage should be decisive." Graxthar was less certain. The intelligence from Vextar's defeated forces suggested these humans employed technologies that defied conventional military doctrine. "Commence the attack," he ordered. "All vessels, advance in standard conquest formation." The Skalath fleet moved forward as one, a wall of overwhelming firepower designed to crush any opposition through sheer force. Singh's voice remained calm. "Execute Operation Thunderstorm. All ships, engage quantum jumping protocols." What followed astonished even the most experienced Skalath commanders. The human vessels began to blink in and out of existence, appearing in one location only to vanish seconds later and reappear elsewhere. The carefully planned Skalath formation dissolved into chaos as they tried to target ships that refused to stay in one place. "Impossible," Graxthar shouted as the tactical display became a confusion of disappearing and reappearing human signatures. "No species can perform targeted jumps with such precision or frequency." The human fleet's quantum jumping capability, refined through years of secret testing, allowed them to appear behind Skalath vessels, fire precision strikes, and vanish before counterattacks could land. The aliens' numerical advantage became almost irrelevant, as they could never bring their full firepower to bear on targets that refused to stay put. On the Galactic Council, the representatives watched the battle through long-range sensors with growing amazement. Species that had suffered under Skalath oppression for generations witnessed something they had thought impossible: the Empire's military might being systematically dismantled by a handful of ships employing tactics never before seen in galactic warfare. "The humans fight like no species I have ever encountered," remarked the Ventari ambassador. "They do not seek to overpower their enemy's strength. They simply refuse to engage with it at all." Several previously neutral species began quiet discussions with Earth's diplomatic team. Any civilization that could challenge the Skalath so effectively was worth aligning with. On Proxima's surface, Dr. Reyes made a critical discovery. "Commander," she called to Jackson, "I've identified a pattern in the Skalath fleet communications. Their ships are networked through a quantum entanglement system, similar to ours but more centralized." Jackson looked up from the tactical display. "Can we exploit it?" "I believe so," Reyes replied, fingers flying across the interface. "Their system prioritizes efficiency over security. If we can access the command ship's network node, I could introduce a data virus that would disrupt their entire fleet coordination." "How do we get access to their command ship?" Jackson asked. Reyes smiled grimly. "We don't need physical access. Their ground forces are still linked to the fleet network. We just need to capture one of their intact communication nodes." Jackson immediately assembled a strike team. With the colony largely secured, they could afford to focus on this high-value target. Intelligence from the hacked Skalath communications identified a forward command post with the necessary equipment. In orbit, the battle reached a crescendo. The Skalath, frustrated by their inability to pin down the human vessels, began firing indiscriminately, hoping to catch the elusive targets through volume of fire. This only made them more vulnerable as the human ships exploited gaps in their defenses created by this increasingly desperate strategy. Singh received a priority communication from Admiral Chen. "Captain, our ground forces report they're close to compromising the Skalath network. Maintain pressure on their fleet to keep them distracted." "Understood, Admiral," Singh replied. "We'll give them plenty to worry about." Supreme Admiral Graxthar watched in mounting horror as his fleet's coordination collapsed. Ship after ship reported system failures, weapons malfunctions, and navigation errors. The command network, the pride of Skalath military technology, was unraveling before his eyes. "What is happening?" he demanded, his voice losing its characteristic imperial calm. His chief systems officer worked frantically at the console. "Some form of data corruption is spreading through the network. It's rewriting command protocols faster than our security systems can respond." On the planet below, Commander Jackson's team had successfully captured the Skalath communication node. Dr. Reyes had wasted no time uploading her carefully crafted virus into the system, a cascading algorithm that exploited the centralized nature of the alien command structure. "The virus is propagating through their fleet," Reyes reported, watching the data streams on her portable terminal. "Their systems are too interconnected. They prioritized efficiency over security." Jackson nodded with grim satisfaction. "How long until full effect?" "Minutes," Reyes replied. "Their ships will maintain life support and basic functions, but weapons, shields, and coordinated maneuvers will fail." In orbit, Captain Singh observed the growing chaos in the enemy fleet. The Skalath vessels were breaking formation, some firing at random, others drifting powerless. The operation was succeeding beyond their expectations. Then alarms blared across the Thunderchild's bridge. "Captain," called the sensor officer, "the Skalath flagship has overcome the virus effects. It's powering engines to maximum and setting course directly for the colony's main settlement." Singh understood immediately. "It's a suicide run. Supreme Admiral Graxthar intends to crash his vessel into the planet rather than accept defeat." The massive Skalath dreadnought, nearly 5 kilometers long, would cause devastation equivalent to a small asteroid impact, potentially killing thousands of colonists even with evacuations underway. "Intercept course," Singh ordered without hesitation. "Maximum speed." The Thunderchild broke from the battle, accelerating to place itself between the plummeting flagship and the vulnerable colony. As the vessels converged, Singh opened a channel to the Skalath commander. "This is Captain Singh. Your fleet is defeated. There is no honor in massacring civilians. Stand down your vessel." Graxthar's reply came through distorted but clear enough. "The Skalath Empire does not surrender. If we cannot have this world, neither shall you." Singh's expression hardened. "All hands, prepare for impact. Divert all power to forward shields." The Thunderchild positioned itself directly in the dreadnought's path, its relatively smaller mass insufficient to stop the massive vessel completely, but enough to alter its trajectory. As the ships collided, the human vessel's quantum-reinforced hull strained against forces it was never designed to withstand. On the bridge, consoles exploded and support beams collapsed. Singh, thrown from his command chair, pulled himself back to the tactical station despite the blood streaming from a gash on his forehead. "Status of the Skalath flagship," he demanded. Through smoke and emergency lighting, Hayes managed to check her readings. "Its trajectory has shifted. It will miss the settlement. But, sir, our structural integrity is failing. We need to evacuate." Singh nodded grimly, activating the ship-wide communication. "All hands abandon ship. This is not a drill." Throughout the vessel, crew members made their way to escape pods while continuing to perform their duties until the last possible moment. A testament to human discipline and training. 3 days later, the formal surrender of the remaining Skalath forces was transmitted across the galaxy. For the first time in their 1,000-year history of expansion, the Empire had been decisively defeated. On the Galactic Council, the vote to recognize Earth as a full member passed with unprecedented speed. Species that had suffered under Skilaf dominance saw humans not merely as warriors but as liberators. The Proxima colony began the long process of rebuilding. Dr. Reyes, recognized for her crucial role in the victory, led a new research division dedicated to understanding and adapting alien technology for peaceful purposes. Captain Singh, recovering in a medical facility after being rescued from his escape pod, received notification of his promotion to Admiral and his new assignment, heading Earth's diplomatic corps. His actions had demonstrated that humanity's strength lay not just in its military prowess, but in its willingness to sacrifice for principles. Admiral Chen addressed the United Earth Government Council, his normally stern expression softened by the weight of recent events. The galaxy now knows of our existence and our capabilities. The question before us is how we will use this new influence. The decision was unanimous. Human warships would patrol trade routes previously terrorized by the Skilaf, offering protection to vulnerable species. Earth would share some of its technological advances while maintaining necessary security. Diplomatic missions would be established on key worlds to forge alliances based on mutual respect rather than intimidation. As the news spread throughout human colonies, citizens looked to the stars with new perspective. They had emerged from isolation into a complex galactic community, not as conquerors or subjects, but as respected equals. The warships that had defended Proxima became symbols not of militarism, but of humanity's commitment to protect its own and to stand against tyranny. For the surviving Skilaf, the lesson was clear. They had dismissed humans as primitive based on incomplete information, never imagining that behind Earth's peaceful exploration vessels lurked warships of unmatched capability. Their empire would rebuild, but never again would they underestimate the species that had emerged from an unremarkable solar system to change the balance of galactic power. The humans had arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again.